everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to tell you about what I use to film my own hunts. So it's the end of September right now, almost that magic time of the year. Hunting season just a few days away here in Indiana, and I'm looking forward to getting out into the woods. I'm going to be doing a lot of hunting on public in early October, and then I'll transition into hunting a lot on private ground once the rut starts to kick in a little bit. So just laid out a lot of equipment in front of me, a lot of camera equipment, camera arms, GoPros, and various accessories that go along with that, just to show you, especially for a lot of the beginners out there that want to get into filming their own hunts, starting a YouTube channel, what I use and what works for me. So first and foremost, depends on the type of hunting you're going to be doing, but out of a saddle, I do a lot of hunting on public ground, and I use a couple different things when I'm doing that. So this is the Satellite camera arm from 4th Arrow, and I picked this up last year. It's been a great camera arm, and I actually bought their fluid head as well. It's an okay fluid head. It's pretty lightweight, and it serves its purpose. There's probably better fluid heads out there. I know Manfrotto makes some pretty good ones, but it's lightweight, and that's all I really need it for. In case I drop it out of the tree and break it, I'm not too concerned about it. But the arm itself is great for hunting out of the saddle, but I've noticed if you try to use it when you sit in like a climber or a lock-on or even a ladder stand, it's not going to be long enough to reach around your body when this is behind your tree. So it's really only beneficial for hunting in a saddle when that's right in front of you. You just need to transition it to your left or your right while you're hunting in a saddle. I found it's great for that, and it's really packable, lightweight. So that's what I primarily use when I'm hunting public ground out of my saddle. Now let's talk about a different camera arm that I just picked up this year. So this is the Stiff Arm Ghost from 4th Arrow as well, and it's got a lot longer reach. It's got 35-inch reach on it, so I think it'll be a lot better when I'm sitting in a lot of my stands, my fixed stands on my private ground. I've got probably at least a dozen stands that I hunt out of, and I like to hunt out of fixed stands on private just because it's easier. I don't have to wake up early and get all my stuff out, walk to a tree, climb a tree, set all that stuff up, and then set up my film equipment. So it's a lot easier to just get to a tree, climb up in it, and then hang your equipment and then start hunting. So I like to do that, but for public ground, I'm always going to be saddle hunting, and that's just what I like to do. So this camera arm is also pretty lightweight. It's aluminum, and there's a couple of variations of the base that you can get. It's kind of machined in the middle, so it hollows out what normally would be part of the camera arm, and I really like how lightweight it is, and it seems like it's got a pretty good distance from where you would typically put it behind you on a tree. Kind of move that and angle it around you so that you can get those shots as your deer are transitioning, back and forth in front of you, or even behind you, depending on the situation. So I like how long it is, and I think it'll be a lot better use for filming out some of those stands I like to hunt on my private ground. In terms of the base is still pretty bulky, but it supports a lot more weight. I think that camera arm supports up to 10 pounds. It's either 8, I think it's 8 pounds, and they've got a couple that support 10. But what I use for filming purposes, none of my cameras are that heavy anyway. I just got a Sony FDR camera, little camcorder that I use, and then I'll talk about that here in a minute. But in terms of these bases, I did get the Talon base. It's got a retractable base, so it folds up nice. It's kind of an add-on. The original bases that they have, they strap to the tree, and it's got a little retention bar on it that you tighten, and it's kind of like for a fixed position. But these Talon bases, these are great for moving around to different trees and putting it in there. They come with a ratchet, which I don't really care for. Nobody likes to use ratchets in a tree. They're pretty loud and bulk, and kind of an annoyance putting on, cranking those down to the tree. So I'll probably order a new cam buckle for this, that similar to the one that came for the Satellite arm. It's got a cam buckle on it, and I like it a lot better. It's real quiet. All you do is stick that against your chest, wrap it around the tree, put it in there, and then just turn that buckle once and slap it down, and it tightens down to the tree. So those are a little bit better than your standard ratchet straps. So those are the two camera arms that I use, and that's the fluid head I use. If I'm hunting out of a blind, which sometimes I'll do some ground blind hunting, especially during turkey season, but in the past I've hunted out of ground blinds, you know, for deer. So a good tripod is definitely a plus in that situation. This is a Manfrotto tripod, and I've got a kind of a quick release detachment here that I can use to pan my camera. Zoom, it's got a zoom feature and an on-off record button, and you can lock that so it doesn't turn off on you while you're trying to film something. And that's great even you know, sitting out of a blind or even hunting, you know, from a tree stand. I use that with my fluid head so I don't have to reach up to the camera itself and turn it on. I can just hit those buttons and hit record and kind of go from there. So in terms of the actual cameras that I use a Handycam. This is just a Sony FDR AX53. I kind of did a lot of review research on this camera before I bought it. It's a little bit of an older camera. I actually bought this one used, but it has a really good night shot feature, which I like to film intros on YouTube if you're starting something in the early morning hours. It's got a pretty good zoom on it, but it's pretty lightweight and just portable. I mean, a lot of guys filming for YouTube now are using a lot of DSLRs, and they can get pretty expensive and pretty bulky. And I believe I paid right around $1,100–1,200 for this when I got it. And I also have a Rode video mic on here. Sometimes I'll use that, or other times I might disconnect it and actually use these Rode Wireless Go's. So I've got a few of these for, I think my brother bought me a few for our birthday. We both filmed together. So they come, if you want to get the 3-pack, which I think is typical, they come with, you know, kind of your central command with a screen, and then it has these two video mics that you can use along with those, and then so like two people can talk, and they've got really good clarity. We picked up these little detachable mics that you can put on in conjunction with that, but they do come with the little windproof fuzzies straight out of the box, and you can just clip the whole package to your shirt and then just rock it from there. But I like to use one of those extension mics and just put it in my pocket. So that's what I use for filming a lot with this camcorder. So all you gotta do is plug it into the port here, plug in your main Wireless Go mic, and then put one in your pocket and attach it to your collar, your shirt, and then it'll show you on the screen on the Rode Wireless Go which of your mics is on, and it'll have a little filter there to kind of show you the decibels and what that's reading, so you can kind of tell that it's on. So with the camera equipment, I'm going to be using, you know, my camcorder for the main recording system, and then I'm always going to want to have a secondary or backup camera. So what I do when I'm filming out of a tree stand, and even if I'm sitting in a blind, I'm going to be looking for a convenient way to hang a secondary camera. So I'm actually filming this with my GoPro 10, but I've got some different GoPros that I use for secondary angles. And I've also got a little wireless wrist strap that I use. And I think it only works for GoPros from 5s to I think up to the 8s or 9s, and then I think once they transition to the 10s with the different batteries, they no longer work for those. You got to get a different wireless remote wrist strap. But I found it pretty convenient when I'm trying to get that second angle shot, depending on where I'm hunting. Even when I'm doing like waterfowl and stuff like that, I can keep the camera running and just hit record, so I'm not taking up a bunch of space on my SD cards. So when I'm in a tree, I'm going to be using one of two things. I'm either going to be using one of these little mini tripods for my GoPro, just attach it and then wrap these around a limb, kind of angle it where I can get a good shot. I've got another screw-on hanger that I use for those secondary shots, and it's also got a GoPro mount on it. So I sometimes keep that in my backpack when I'm hunting out of a tree, just so I can, you know, get in some of those trees that don't have a lot of branches to hang another camera on. You can just screw it into the tree and, you know, reach that sucker out and get a good second angle shot with your GoPros. So that's what I use filming out of a tree, and this is what I use, you know, a good steady tripod for filming out of blinds, and some of the camera arms that I use. I'm always going to keep all my electronics and camera gear in a waterproof, watertight bag. So I'll usually put something like this with my camera in it, my batteries, my mics, even some spare batteries for my GoPros and everything. I'll keep inside of this and then wad that up in my bag and take that out to either the blind or the stand with me. But normally I'll keep, you know, my extra GoPro batteries and everything in watertight containers. I keep those separate because your GoPro 5s all the way up to, I think, the 10s, 9s or 10s, somewhere it transitioned to these bigger batteries. So I kind of have to keep a good supply of those running as well. So that's pretty much the bulk of what I use to film all my hunts and outdoor trips with. But I just kind of want to give you a better idea of what I use. I didn't always start this way. You know, I had some other camcorders that I used. Filmed a lot of hunts with just a GoPro 5, you know, and once I started getting more into filming, I kind of branched away and started getting some better equipment, better audio equipment, just so that my video quality can kind of go up a level. So, you know, just start with whatever you can afford to use in terms of equipment. You know, start there, and then if you enjoy filming your hunts, you know, then you can kind of work your way up to some of the better equipment, some of those different camcorders and DSLR cameras that do a lot of better video features. You can really spend a lot of money on. So the biggest thing for me was learning how to edit. So me and my brother both taught ourselves how to edit our videos, and we still use free software. But once I get set up in my house, I'm probably going to transition into using Premiere Pro. So it's a lot faster software, and some of the software I've used before is real glitchy. So I think that once I get on par with, you know, the editing in a better software, and I'll probably, you know, change my camera setups a little bit, get some better filming cameras, some DSLRs, and kind of incorporate that into some of my hunting trips and fishing trips. But for now, this stuff works great for me, and I can still put out 4K quality content. So I hope you enjoy this, hope you learned something, and stick around. We'll be putting out some more videos this fall, and look forward to getting out in the woods this year and hopefully getting big deer. So stay tuned, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video.